In late 2008, Warner Music Group became the center of media frenzy when the music mogul decided to pull all of its content from the video streaming titan YouTube. This action was a direct result of a conflict involving the renegotiation of licensing fees between Warner Music Group and Google's YouTube site. Because of the recent success and growth of streaming services, when it was time for contract renewal, Warner Music Group felt the need for larger compensation. This began the battle between the two companies, who were both seeing a decline in profits in different sectors of their businesses. Warner Music Group's position in the negotiation was to obtain higher licensing fees. At the time, Warner Music was seeing $3 to $8 of ad revenue per every 1,000 views. Their position on the matter was increasing the licensing fees to $25 to $40 of ad revenue for every 1,000 plus views. YouTube felt this was an overzealous request, and their position was for Warner Music Group to lower their demand and allow for the continued streaming of their content at a lower rate to avoid creating a deficit in the company. The underlying interests of Warner Music Group were profit-based. They had seen a steady decline in physical album sales and wanted to create more revenue to compensate the loss with their growing partnership with YouTube. YouTube's payouts to so many companies had also put a strain on their revenue stream. Their interest in this negotiation was to increase their revenue and release the pressure from their parent company, Google. There were quite a few negotiation techniques present in this dispute. One thing I noticed prominently in this situation was Warner Music Group's use of their status and positional bargaining to create a deadlock between the companies when they pulled their content from YouTube. Instead of compromising their terms, they took a very loud stand when they left the streaming site because of their position not being met without any regards to YouTube's interest of releasing revenue pressure from Google. This act dispelled Warner's interests, as well as eliminating their content could pose the risk of losing more profit for their own company. They used their high status to create a discomfort on YouTube and their viewers to argue what they wanted. One could also say that their act was a dirty intimidation trick of force. Another technique rose with a positive change from the issues that previously arose. They exhibited an excellent example of creating a mutual benefit. They bounced back from their stalemate and created an innovative way to benefit each party by creating revenue by premium content channels. Allowing Warner to create custom channels with an enhanced user experience, this gave a new idea that would increase traffic flow for both parties. This gave them both more ad revenue, let Warner increase viewer reach and sales, and gave YouTube the chance to try out a new system implementation without any profit loss. Win-win. Pulling through to an agreeable solution to the negotiation went very well in this situation. Coming back from a stalemate and achieving an outcome that satisfied both interests for the time being was a perfect example of conflict resolution and a successful conclusion for a difficult deal. Their strength to think outside of the means of price and separating negative emotions about actions helped this negotiation to come to completion. A weakness for this negotiation would be Warner's decision to create a standoff when they pulled their content. Not only did they pull artist content, they eliminated any user-generated content they used their catalog. This hurt everyone in the process. The users were affected by the loss of their content, and Warner's, so this created a problematic situation outside of the two parties involved. It gave a means for unnecessary tension and damaged everyone's profits in return. Warner, YouTube, Google users, and ad-based revenues all seen a loss in this act, and it was a stunt that, even though proved effective, was a weak move. In future negotiations, I feel they will consider their viewpoint on positional bargaining to avoid another issue so destructive. An agreement was finally reached. In this agreement, Warner Music Group will be allowed the rights to sell ads against its own official videos and user-generated videos that use their content. This allowed the label to set its own prices while keeping the majority of the revenues and giving YouTube a portion. This eliminated the need for YouTube to pay out more money, potentially increased revenue for Warner, and took any liability away from Google. It puts control and success of their future in their own hands, as Chris Maxey, head of YouTube Music, stated. I think this will continue to foster the long-term relationship between Warner Music Group and YouTube. This incident showed that they have a symbiotic relationship and they can continue to innovate together through their contracts. I believe they see the importance of a win-win instead of a lose-loss when dealing with two media powerhouses.